MobLand wraps up its first season with an episode titled The Beast in Me, which borrows its name from a Johnny Cash song. The track, which plays at both the start and end of the episode, tries to inject some emotional depth into the show's finale. But just like many things in MobLand, the symbolism falls flat. The song talks about the personal demons that live inside us, addiction, pain, regret, but the series doesn't really explore any of that meaningfully. Instead, it just simplifies everything. If you're a beast, you're a monster, and that's all we really need to know. MobLand wants to be deep, but it settles for surface-level grit. After watching 10 full episodes of this series, it's clearer than ever that MobLand never truly figured out what kind of story it wanted to tell. The show juggled multiple plots, characters, and twists, but all of it feels disconnected. The finale especially doesn't give us a strong or satisfying ending. If anything, it made me realize how much time I invested into a show that ultimately gave me nothing to hold on to. Take Richie Stevenson's death, for example. Played by Jeff Bell, Richie was set up as an important figure early on, but his death, like so many others in the show, doesn't actually change anything. He's gone, and the story just replaces him with someone else. The same goes for most of the characters who have died over the course of the season. I can barely remember their names, let alone their arcs. Their exits don't impact the world or the people around them in a meaningful way. The writers seem to think giving someone a dramatic monologue after a character dies is enough, but it just makes the whole thing feel hollow. And what's even worse is that so many of the characters feel exactly the same. Whether it's Kevin, Bella, Kat, or the newest crooked lawyer or dirty cop, none of them stand out. Everyone in MobLand is interchangeable. You kill off one person, and someone else shows up to fill their spot, with no real change in tone or consequence. The characters don't evolve. They're like placeholders, moving the plot forward without adding any emotional weight. There's no real personality or uniqueness to grab onto. The show keeps hinting that the Harrigan family, who sit at the center of all the drama, are this complex, layered group of antiheroes. But in the end, I'm not sure the writers themselves know who the Harrigans are supposed to be. One moment, they're a tight, scrappy unit trying to survive in the world of crime. The next, they're cold and manipulative. Then suddenly they're painted as some kind of criminal royalty, with Conrad, Pierce Brosnan, at the head, cheered on like a champion. Are they villains? Are they victims? Are they supposed to be both? The finale leaves all of these questions unanswered, and not in a way that sparks curiosity, just confusion. There's a difference between leaving things open-ended and being completely unfocused. MobLand chooses the latter. The characters don't feel like they've grown or changed in any significant way over 10 episodes. Harry D'Souza, played by Tom Hardy, for instance, is practically in the same spot he was in at the start of the show. He's been through betrayals, fights, secrets, and lies, but none of that seems to have affected him or the way he moves through the world. And then there's the dialogue. Wow, the dialogue. Every scene drags because the characters talk in long, rambling metaphors that don't go anywhere. When two people start a conversation, you already know it's going to be 5 minutes of back-and-forth wordplay before anyone actually says anything meaningful. It's all padding. There are a million better ways to build tension or emotion, but MobLand goes for style over substance every time, and not in a good way. By the time we get to The Beast in Me, there are still so many storylines that need closure. But instead of tying things up properly, the episode just stretches everything out. There's too much talking and not enough payoff. We rush through some key reveals while wasting precious time on brand new conflicts that weren't even hinted at before. Kevin and Conrad suddenly have beef again. Eddie and Bella are now clashing. And all of this happens so late in the game that it doesn't land emotionally. Honestly, I don't even know how the season ended. That's how unclear everything felt. Conrad is apparently going to get out of prison, but the last scene has him standing in a dark jail hallway, arms raised in some dramatic pose like he's finally found his purpose. What does that even mean? Is he content in prison? Is this his domain now? Or is he about to stage a comeback? It's not explained. Then you've got Kevin and Harry, who have taken over the fentanyl operation. Their shady deals have been exposed, but they're acting like nothing's wrong. They seem more than ready to let Maeve and Conrad return to the fold. Meanwhile, Eddie, who finds out shocking truths about his parents, gets so angry that he literally tries to kill his mom. And yet, Just a few punches from Zoja are enough to calm him down? That whole subplot feels like it was pulled from a completely different show, or maybe just made up at the last minute. It's rushed and disconnected, and we're expected to buy it without question. In the end, MobLand's biggest problem is that it never settled on a direction. It was always trying to be a little bit of everything. A gritty crime saga, a family drama, a psychological thriller, but it didn't commit to any of those ideas fully. Every episode felt like a test run for a different show, and by the time we reached the finale, there was no cohesion. 10 episodes later, we're not any closer to understanding these characters or the world they live in. MobLand promised intensity and intrigue, but delivered a jumbled mess of scenes that felt like they belonged in different series altogether. What's most frustrating is that there was real potential here. The cast is full of talented actors like Patty Considine, Janet McTeer, and Helen Mirren. The cinematography and production design were stylish and atmospheric. But all of that was wasted on scripts that didn't know what they wanted to say. The show never gave its characters room to grow, never allowed the storylines to breathe, and never respected the viewer's investment. Every time it felt like something big was about to happen, the momentum just fizzled out. MobLand ended the season with more questions than answers, but not in a compelling way. It's the kind of show that tries so hard to seem serious and thoughtful, yet constantly undercuts itself with lazy writing and inconsistent character choices. The final episode, The Beast in Me, should have been a powerful climax that pulled everything together. Instead, it was just another hour of aimless dialogue, unexplained choices, and unresolved arcs. I'm not angry that MobLand ended the way it did. I'm disappointed. Disappointed because it could have been something great, and instead, it wasted its own potential. If the series does return for a second season, it needs to do a serious reset. Otherwise, there's no reason for viewers to keep watching. We already gave it 10 hours of our time, and it gave us nothing back.